Hey, what's going on, guys? Hex coming back into another brand new video, and as always, down in title below will be the topic we're talking about today. So, Angels of Death, episode 5. So in today's episode, we actually got a lot of background information for Zack, and I don't necessarily, need to necessarily say a lot, but we got what we needed, right? So, Zack, we find out basically why he is who he is. We get that characterization. We get things that explain why he is who he is, and we find out that Zack basically was dumped off to that orphanage for pennies, aka dollar bills, and so were all the other kids that actually died. And I'm assuming they just didn't feed him, right? I mean, not even assuming, I know they didn't. And whenever I look at Zack's character, now I can sympathize with him. I understand why he's so kind of like crazy, because one, the only people he knew as parents per se were actually very, very shitty to him in general, so that makes sense why he is who he is. So whenever I look at Zack's character now, I'm just kind of like, listen, he had to bury kids his own age. He was forced to bury them in the backyard. Think about that. Think about what that would do to you, mentally. Just think about what that would do to you mentally. I mean, do you blame him for being a murderer? Do you blame him for being the way he is? Like, do you at least understand it? Is it the right path? No, but look how messed up his life was. So, I mean, whenever you look at it from that standpoint, I think we all could agree, yes, it makes sense Zack is that way. So whenever I saw the dollhouse or Catherine Ward, the person on this, the boss's level in her floor per se, talk about, you both are just using each other as tools. I wonder if you know. And she's like, oh, you don't know? Don't worry about it. I think idiots are cute, she says. And, whenever she said that, I'm pretty sure she wasn't referring to Zack, being a tool in his past. The way she put that, it didn't come off as if she was referring to him as the past. She said, you both are using each other as tools. I wonder which one of you guys are the real tools. And she said, oh, you don't know? I think idiots are cute. Why would she say, oh, you don't know? Zack knows his own past. He knows that. And excuse me, you guys may hear in the background, he knows his own past. So what doesn't he know is the question. So it makes me look at Rachel, it kind of makes me raise an eyebrow. And of course, that's just kind of, I don't know, that's just my kind of theory, but I would love to know what you guys think down in the comments below. No spoilers or anything crazy like that, but I'm just wondering if there's more to that than meets the eye. But yeah, whenever I did get to see, the dollhouse and how it was Zack's family and stuff, I did like how she did that, because it really, it's a mental game. It's supposed to make him go a little crazy. It's supposed to make him possibly break the dollhouse before he needed to, which he almost did if it wasn't for Rachel stopping him actually and saying, no, don't do it, Zack. So whenever I look at that, I like that. I love how she's trying to play this mental game. And I mean, at the end of the day, she probably knew the only person that could withstand those drugs was Zack. And she's probably trying to drive Zack to the point to where he wouldn't even take the drugs, trying to drive him mad. Or at least he would kill Rachel, and we see that he almost did, and then Rachel talked him out. Well, didn't really even talk him out of it, just asked him, would this be okay with you? And seeing Zack take those 2 needles by himself, if that shows anything, guys, it shows his care for Rachel. It shows that there's something about her, he just doesn't get it. One, she's able to stop, talk him out of killing her, which she didn't really talk him out, but she, it's like reasoning with him, and he's not supposed to be reasoning, someone to reason with. We see that one girl is trying to reason with him in the past that he's chasing in the alley back in episode 3 when he did a little flashback. And at the same time, we see that Rachel's able to just talk to him, and then he kind of snaps out of it, and he doesn't treat her as necessarily just an object. He treats her as a person, in the moment in this episode he said, just stay here and rest, you can't see us here. The moment where he took the 2 syringes and says, hey, let me be the doll this time, let me be the one that's being used this time, all right? So those things show that he cares, and that's obvious. So that's pretty cool to see, how he is able to talk about how he doesn't really like lies. And he even gave Rachel a hug. Think about that. He gave Rachel a hug and said, he's like, if there's anything I hate, it's lies, right? He's like, if there's anything I hate the most, it is lies. So think about that, guys. I want you guys really to think about that. And I know a lot of you guys are probably like, well, Hex, what do you think about the card scene? Don't you think that was kind of anticlimactic? And I would say kind of, because he had the card to open the door, and then look, this is Zack wasn't even putting it in the wrong way. The arrow was facing him. Go back and look at that. I'm like 99% sure he's putting it in the wrong way. Then he breaks the card, and then she finds these 2 batteries and makes a giant explosion. If that giant explosion was able to blow off that door, how in the hell did they not die? Because they're only 3 feet away from that explosion. Think about that. That's a little illogical. They should have been done so too if it's able to blow open a steel door. I mean, especially if they're 3 feet away from the 3 feet away from the explosion. So other than that, though, I mean, that's really all to cover this episode. I mean, yeah. So once again, guys, be sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter, X25. I'll see you guys next time. Peace. Thanks for watching, guys.